Welcome to Royal Math Podcast. Today we will be looking at using the number line to add integers. Several things that we need to pay attention to when using the number line to add integers is the absolute value and the zero line. The absolute value is how far away from zero any given number is. Therefore, if you have positive 55, it has the same absolute value as negative 55. Why? Because it is the distance from that number to zero. That's very important because when using the number line, we use the absolute value when adding or subtracting or combining positive and negative. Now, another important aspect is the fact that we have positives and negatives. When you have positives and negatives, they behave the same as adding or subtracting. Therefore, when you add a positive integer, it is the same as adding. When you add a negative integer, it is the same as subtracting. Positive integers and adding moves to the right. Negative numbers and subtracting move to the left. Therefore, when you add positive numbers, you move away from the zero on the number line. And when you subtract or combine negative integers, you move to the left away from zero on the number line. No matter which of those occurs, you have a greater absolute value. Positive integers, like I said earlier, they move to the right. Therefore, if I have a positive integer, let's choose 55 plus 22. We know that we will add 55 and 22 together and get 77. But let's look at this on the number line. Here's our number line. Here's 0. Whenever we use the number line to help us, we always start off with the greater absolute value of the two numbers, which in this case is 55. Now we have 55 here. So we know there is a positive 22. So that means it is going to be moving to the right on the number line. So if it moves to the right and we have a positive 22, we know that the absolute value of 55, if it's moving away from 0, is going to be greater. Therefore, it makes sense that we would add 55 and 22 together to get a total of 77. They are both positive, therefore the answer will remain positive. Now let's look at negative integers. Negative integers, as I said earlier, move to the left on the number line. It doesn't matter which side of the zero they are on, they will always move to the left. Therefore, if you have 55 minus 22 on the number line, we know we can look at it as this. Here's 55. And we know we are going to be moving to the left because it is a negative or a subtraction. So we have negative 22. All right, now remember, if we are to the right of the zero line and we move to the left, our absolute value will be getting smaller. So when we move closer to 0, we will be getting smaller. Therefore, we know that 55 minus 22 would be 33 because it is moving towards the 0 line. Now, which number has a greater absolute value? It is 55. 55 has a greater absolute value, and it is positive, so we know the answer will be positive as well. Positive and negative integers. So, we've already looked at how positive integers affect each other. They move to the right. We looked at how negative integers affect each other. They move to the left on the number line. And we also noticed that no matter where we're at, if we're at 0 and we move to the left on the number line, then our numbers get a greater absolute value. And if we are to the right of the 0 line, our numbers also get greater by their absolute value. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at a couple different problems. First off, we will look at negative 33 plus 22. So we are going to go ahead and draw our number line, and we are going to choose the number with the greater absolute value, which is negative 33. So here we have negative 33. Now, we see that it is going to be combined with a positive 22. Positive, or adding, moves to the right, and it will be 22. So if we are getting closer to the 0 line, we know that 33, to make it smaller by 22, would be subtraction. Therefore, we have 33 minus 22 is 11. Which number has the greatest absolute value? Well, that would be the negative 33. Therefore, we know our answer is going to be negative because it never crossed the 0 line. So let's go ahead and take a look at another number. Let's take a look at negative 55 plus a negative 22. Now, we could simplify this, and we could look at the fact that we have these two numbers right here, they're butted up against each other. Therefore, we can treat them as if they are multiplying. And with the rules of multiplication and division, we know a positive times a negative equals a negative. So another way we could look at this problem is negative 55 minus 22. So we have two negative numbers here. So let's draw this on the number line. Here's our 0. We're going to take our largest absolute value, which just happens to be negative 55. And because we have a negative, or subtracting 22, we know it's going to move to the left on the number line by 22 points. So if we are moving away from 0, and if we move away from 0 on the left-hand side, we know the absolute value is going to become greater. We can conclude that negative 55 minus 22 will be added together to get the results. Therefore, 55 plus 22 is 77. They are both negative. Therefore, the answer remains negative, and we end up at negative 77 on the number line. Thank you for watching the Royal Math Podcast. Have a good day.